Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Sweeney. For those of you who may not know, I am a Marine Corps veteran, an elite Dare to Try athlete, and the host of the Josh Sweeney podcast. Thank you so much for joining in today's Dare to Try Day to Give. Now, today I'm joined by a fellow veteran and former law enforcement officer, Tom Giannettino. Tom has been a member of the Dare to Try community since 2013. I'm very excited to talk with him today about a number of topics, from competing all the way to coaching. So let's just get right into it. Tom, you have quite an extensive, resume in and out of sports. For starters, can you just take us through your military career and then kind of where you went after that?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be a part of anything like this to help out Dare to Try. So, yeah, I entered the military at 18 years old, right after high school. I enlisted in the Air Force, traveled all over the country, traveled all over the world in those 21 years. A lot of deployments, a lot of amazing things to remember. And once I got out of active duty, I spent a few years trying to get in law enforcement. So finally got my dream job back in 1999 when I got into the New York State Police.
Were you always kind of into athletics at the time? I mean, being in the military, you're always having to stay fit, and I'm sure you were involved in a lot of different sports just because that's how it is. But was like triathlon, was that something you were doing while you were on active duty and even after?
No, absolutely not. I other than my military duty, no sports in college. I didn't go to college. I only have a few credit hours. Not even an amateur athlete throughout my time after high school. Everything pretty much came to a point, when I got into Dare to Try, and, I took on the new aspiration of, trying something different. Around the fall of 2012, I first had the idea that I was kind of becoming fixated with fitness. I started doing, some running. And I felt like when I was running, I was kind of like in control of myself, where I hadn't been in that position for several months prior due to my injury and mental health problems. So that little bit of running was really doing something for me. And I wanted to take it one step further. And I looked into triathlons because to me, it was probably one of the hardest feats that I could possibly do because I wasn't able to use my one arm. So around the fall of 2012, I reached out to down to Penn State because I heard they had an adaptive sport program. So I got in touch with the director, and she invited me down. I hooked up with another wounded warrior and basically got, a few lessons in swimming and how to, swim with just my left arm and just basically some swim basics. But then I was like, well, I told the director, I said, this is great. I love the swimming. I said, but I really, really want to be part of triathlon. That's really what my goal is right now. I want to swim, I want to bike, and I want to run. So she's like, well, we don't really do much triathlon here, or I can't advise you. But she says, I know this lady up in Chicago by the name of Carrie who runs this paratriathlon camp. And you know what? Probably a month or so later, I reached out to Chicago and I talked to Carrie, and I'm like, she said, we have a camp coming up in June. And I was like, yes, that's what I need to do.
That's awesome. And so how was that? Like, what was your camp like? Did you get what you wanted out of that?
Oh, absolutely. I got out of it much more. I mean, that changed my life. I finally realized that the structure that I was missing and the structure of triathlon was so much like what I have lived with from 18 years old after being in the military and after serving in law enforcement. The structure was what I was really missing. And I came to the realization that, this was going to be my mechanism to heal. The structure of swimming, biking, and running, that was my mechanism. And, I tell that story that this was paramount in my recovery, both mentally and physically, is knowing that I have a purpose. I can do something now. I could be a para triathlete.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really cool that you got that back and that drive and that focus. And anyone who knows you within the Dare to Try community knows about your evolution from an athlete to a coach. So let's talk a little bit about that. What inspired you to become a coach?
Yeah, well, of course it was Dare to Try again. It was Carrie. It was 2000 and I'm trying to think of the year here. I was at one of the elite camps. I was awaiting a surgery and I really couldn't do much. I was in a lot of pain. So I went to help out at the elite camp, and Carrie had to step away. She had to go take care of business, because if you know anything about Carrie, when it comes time to a camp, she's going 100 miles an hour, 100 different directions. So Carrie was teaching, some swimming in the pool deck, and she had to step away. And I was just there, talking to the other athletes because I couldn't participate. So then Carrie's like, well, hey, Tom, help these guys do this or do that. You know about the drills. You've been here long enough. You know what's going on. So I'm like, yeah, so I stepped in and I just felt this new sense of, oh, wow, you know what? I can't participate right now, but you know what? I can lend my expertise. That kind of led into a whole new thought for me. I'm like, I really enjoyed this. And then Carrie, thanked me, and, conversations kind of, went around, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think this would be a good idea for me to get back into coaching. So for the last 2 years, yeah, I've been a coach now, and I love doing it, mainly because it keeps me engaged in triathlon right now. I love, sharing this passion and inspiration to the younger athletes and teaching them something very valuable.
Is there one thing in your mind that sticks out with Dare to Try, or even racing for Team USA?
I would like to say, I have one huge motto right now, and to me it's stands out. It's reset, refocus, and repurpose. And I think if we really think deep down about that, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in your life, we can all kind of reset ourselves, and we can all kind of refocus on a new goal and a new aspiration. And I think we can all repurpose ourselves into something better or something different. I just think it speaks volumes in a lot of different things, whether it's sport or whether it's life. And I just want to share that with everyone.
All right, Tom. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to chat today in honor of our Day to Give. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And like I said, I have a lot of love for Dare to Try and a lot of passion for the sport, because of what Dare to Try, did for me personally. And I'm just so motivated to share that experience.
Donate now and build a stronger future for Dare to Try and its athletes. Thank you for supporting Day to Give.